No bigger fear than waking up at 2 a.m. and when you had a conversation with the family, you have to look at them and say, there are no more promising available options. And this is kind of like hospice or palliative care. In reality, there very well could be something that exists that you don't know about because it's not approved, but it actually could give them another 8 to 12 months, right? And that is a very stressful thing. And that, I think, at the bare minimum, is where AI comes in, because a human only has so much bandwidth to look at every current clinical trial, the data, everything as it comes out every day and every week. AI technology can do that for you. How does that apply to your thinking? And this obviously is in question.
I mean, you just described exactly the kind of conundrum, right? If everybody's different, what do I do? And if I have thousands of different tools, how do I even keep in my mind, like going in that toolbox, like and finding what's in the toolbox? Somebody's got to help me select the right tools. And so we came at this problem kind of thinking of two things. Number one, right? How do you make a catalog? Like somebody's got to keep track of everything, right? And we want to do that. All of us want to do that in a way that it's like well organized, like,
Right.
you know, like anyone would have a listing on Yelp. So we've got to manage this catalog of all these things. And then we have to have information about it. So the one thing we kind of learned and my team learned is you actually have to think about clinical and biological rationale. So we were talking to oncologists and doctors, and they're like, well, when I look at a patient, I look at two things, right? I look at how are they, right? To your point about like, are they going to be able to tolerate something? Are they doing well? Do they look healthy, right? Do they seem like they feel strong? Are they telling me that they're willing to, you know, or look like they could tolerate this thing because it's going to be, you know, physically difficult.
Right.
So that's one element. And then also other things like, have you had a surgery before? Like maybe you had some sort of surgery or some other disease that took place, right, that you've had or have as a chronic illness. That could change everything about you. And then the other thing we realized is there's this biology. So those switches that you were talking about, right?
Right.
Like, how do we understand those? And there's an incredible number of companies out there who are developing basically the mapping technology, sequencing technology. These are all the switches in the direction they're in today. And then another set of companies that are like, hey, you've had some treatment. Here's the new set of switches. So I think we've identified over 10,000 different things that people are thinking about doing in cancer. And those things are like multiple combinations of things, right, in different order. And so we want to take what we know about a patient, right, and present to their physician, doctor, and say, here's what we think we know about your patient based on everything we understand about them. And then here are the things we think you might want to know about, right? And you may want to actually consider and start researching a little bit deeper, because then you don't have to go look at those 10,000 things. And then the last piece, and this ended up being, when we started this 3 years ago, it was like a huge aha moment for me, which is the how do you get it? Access becomes really important. And in healthcare, I've been through this in my own care, is like, is your insurance cover it, right, et cetera. So there's all these things in cancer care, right? There's standard of care, that's stuff that's been around for a while or that everybody knows works well, right? There's off-label use, right, which means that a drug was approved for one thing, but because of the time it would take to try and all these other things, like they haven't run all these other clinical studies, but one of the switches says it might be a good thing.
You've made it through this video and I am super stoked. Hopefully you feel a lot more knowledgeable and even somewhat comfortable about the crazy world of cancer. If you did, like, comment, but especially just share, if nothing else, to get this information out so that hopefully people are less intimidated by something that's as scary as cancer would be a big win. And we look forward to seeing you here next time.